Welcome everyone to the Road to One, where we get to hear different real estate investors' journeys on to get to their first deal. Today we have Zac Hoyt. Welcome.
Hey, thank you. Welcome, John.
Cool. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Zac Hoyt. I'm a real estate investor, an architect, an engineer, and I just love the outdoors. I always have. Raised by some parents that were from the hippie generation that taught me to hug people and hug trees and do good in this world. And yeah, I've been a real estate investor now for 12 years and loving it. And just enjoying life with my wife and my now 1-year-old little boy. It's changed my world yet again. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
me in a nutshell.
yeah. You mentioned architect and engineer. Typically, those two personalities clash, right?
Yeah, that's a little left brain, right brain type of thing. Although, yeah, architects, they have to use that analytical side too. It's not just artistic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started as an engineer and then I went back to school for architecture. So
Mhm.
that's where, yeah, it was a long road. Decades of schooling that I wouldn't recommend to anyone necessarily, but I'm very thankful and grateful of my previous self for doing that, right?
Yeah, it helps you get to where you're at now.
Couldn't be where I'm at now if I didn't do the things that I did back then. 100%. Yep.
Yeah. So, what would you say your avatars are?
So my avatars, I would say I'm a visionary. I love that. Absolutely. My wife always says that I'm the kite that's flying off into the wind, thinking about different things, and she's the one that's grounding me, holding me with the string, right?
Yeah.
Keeping me maybe in reality. So I love thinking outside the box, doing things like that. But I mean, I'm also a capital raiser because money is super important in everything that you're trying to do, especially as an entrepreneur. And as I started out, I had to be the integrator as well. In engineering, you think, yeah, all right, he's probably an integrator type. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can think that way,
Mhm.
but gosh, it doesn't quite excite me in the same way. It's just like, put your nose to the grind and the ground and just keep chugging along
Yeah.
and things done. You just got to do what you got to do when you're
Mhm.
starting out sometimes.
Yeah, it's hilarious because I went into when I tried to do wholesaling, I came in as an integrator just because of my day job,
Hmm.
programming and building logic. Quickly realized that even though I can do it, that's not where I should be spending my time.
100%. And that's what I always do when I hire people, whether they're contractors or anyone, is I ask you, what are you good at? What are you bad at? What do you
Yeah.
like doing? What do you
Mhm.
not like doing? Because if I'm going to have you do something that you don't like doing,
Yeah.
it's not going to be inspiring and you're not going to be pushing towards that nearly as well as if you really like doing something. If you're not good at it and you really like doing it, you'll probably get better at it faster.
Yeah.
So it's really finding what is in your soul that
Mhm.
energizes you. That's the secret.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially when I talk to these newer people and they say, "Oh, well, this is what I've done." I'm like, that's great, but then what do you like to do? Because if
Yeah.
you don't like to do it, then it doesn't really matter.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. That's great advice, man. Glad you tell people that.
Thank you. So where were you at when you decided to get into real estate?
Oh my gosh. So 12 years ago, I was finishing up architecture school at the time. I was getting into my master's of architecture and I was planning on starting up my own architecture firm. And I did, right? I started doing that and I teamed up with someone else and we did that. But gosh, I just found myself creating a new job for myself, a new W-2 essentially. And it was
Mhm.
grueling starting out. And the funny thing is that I was going through a divorce at the time. So that gave me insight and gave me some perspective on things. And I wanted something else. I've always been an entrepreneur from the age of 8. I had a DBA and a tax number doing things because my parents didn't have money and I wanted
Mhm.
to buy things. They said, well, all you need to do is have money. And I said, okay, well, then how can I get money? And I just started asking myself that. And here we are today. Still, we're always asking ourselves, what do we do to make money the next day? But, but yeah, it was back then in architecture school when I was an architect and practicing it. And it just wasn't inspiring. There's a commercial on TV I was on one of those fix it or flip it type of TV shows. Who knows what it was at the time, but
Mhm.
this star that's on the TV show, he's coming to town. Come and get a free digital camera, come for a 30-minute session, right? Real
Yeah.
estate. Guess
Mhm.
what? You don't need money, you don't need credit, and you don't need experience. I'm like, okay, bet, because I have all of those things like money, no experience, and
Mhm.
terrible credit from
Yeah.
this divorce that I was going through.
Mhm.
So I got into it, and yeah, it was something that ended up consuming me because I didn't want to do architecture anymore and work for someone else. I would rather do this thing called real estate investing, where you build that wealth. And even though
Mhm.
it might be slow at times or at first, we know that we're working towards something where it's passive income. And my goal has always been to just be able to spend the quality time with the people that I love, wherever they are, whenever I want, just having that freedom. That was just always my goal, because that's what I love. Is I love people, I love family, and I love helping others. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, the value of just being able to go and like this past weekend, I was able to take my wife and kids down to Clever Summit with me just to hang out. Like for them to experience something like that, it's a lot of fun. They get to see all the things that we go through.
tons of fun. Like for the kids to see that, yeah, I can't
Mhm.
wait till my little Maverick can see some of those things and know what they are. But even just for me, where I just got married 2 weekends ago, and my little boy had his 1 year birthday this past weekend. But just to be able to take all that time
Mhm.
off, I wasn't
Right.
really doing anything other than I had my systems working for me,
Mhm.
just work around the house, make sure everything was set up. And it was in those moments that I'm just very grateful that I've done everything that I've done. And that's how I know that I've got it at this point, right? That this is
Yeah.
exactly the type of path that I want to be on, that I would encourage anyone that has that desire, that freedom. It'll certainly free you up. And it's just very freeing and awesome feeling.
Yeah, a couple things that I wanted to highlight. First, when you're 8, instead of saying I don't have the money to go out and buy the things that I want, you ask yourself, well, how do I get the money? Like that, just question reframing of your process or your mindset. You're thinking of how versus I don't have. I mean, it led you to being able to get the things that you wanted at a young age, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And as an adult, let me give you this little tidbit and secret. So instead of you're thinking of anything that you want to do, anything
Hmm.
in the world, instead of saying, can I do that or can't I do that? Basically asking yourself, can I do this thing? And
Yeah,
then the answer has to be either yes or no.
yeah,
Okay. So now your mind is probably going to get all the fears and everything, and it's going to stack up all the reasons why you can't do that thing.
yeah.
It's hard for you to do that. Maybe not me, maybe not now, all of that, right? Really
Hmm.
easy to come into play. Minds are great at
Yeah.
that. So let's hack that. And then so we tweak it and we say, how can I do this thing right? But I'll
Yeah.
give you one little step further, and it's helped me out in my hardest times, biggest problems that I have whenever I face something. Yes, I'll ask myself how, but I'll ask, how many ways can I blank? How many ways can I make more money right now? How many ways can I get more time with my family? How many ways can I solve this problem? Because then your mind, there is no when you ask
Yeah.
yourself how many ways. And when you
Yeah.
say ways, your mind knows what a plural is. It knows that it's got to be at least two. It's not just one. So then, if you ask yourself how many ways, and you just start writing down a list of how many ways until you feel complete, maybe it's
Mhm.
half an hour, but put a half an hour into this big problem you have,
Yeah.
write those things down. Now, all of a sudden, after that, you're like, wow, there's tons of ways to
Yeah.
get this thing done. There's so many possibilities that even if the first one doesn't work or the second one doesn't work, one of these has to work to get me to that goal. And then it
Yeah.
makes everything easier in life. So how many ways is one of those secret hacks that I love to share with people, because your mind is your biggest obstacle. It's not money, it's not experience, it's not anything, it's your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely want to get into because mindset. So when I first started getting into real estate, it was always about strategy and technicals. How can I go out and do something, and then how do I evaluate whether it is a good deal or not? But then no one, I mean, not many people talk about real mindset as being the probably the most important piece of this because it's not just going out and buying or doing whatever the thing. It's can you fight your mind off and it's like prevent your mind from holding you back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to block you. I mean, that's our mind has that safety mechanism that it wants to keep you in what you already know, because even if
Hmm.
what you're doing right now is terrible for you, like it
Hmm.
just it runs you down and you feel ragged.
Yeah.
It's the terrible that you know as opposed to the terrible you don't know, and that unknown could be even worse, right? That's what your mind is thinking. There's a part of you
Yeah.
that's doing that, and that's that lizard protective brain that's in there.
Hmm.
And you gotta just find how many ways can I get rid of that thing so that
Hmm.
it's not stopping me from doing what I want. Yeah.
Yeah. Embracing this discomfort. I mean, that's what everyone says. And it, once you get comfortable, it's embracing that next step of being uncomfortable again. And now when they say if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing, it finally starts to sink in. This is what they mean.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, yep, it's absolutely true. And every time you get to that next step, a lot of the entrepreneurs, they'll just keep going. They'll push to
Mm.
something new. They're
Mm.
always leaning. I mean, that's what I'm doing. And honestly, that's the people that you want to surround yourself with, people
Yeah.
that always challenge you, right?
Yeah.
You're the sum of the five people that are around you, whether it's money, whether it's their desire to learn, their desire to be happy, like
Mm.
whatever it is, every aspect, you're a sum of them. So sometimes it's hard to think about that and potentially cut people out that don't fit into what you want to lean into in the future.
Yeah.
Some of your friends, I'm going to say you will grow out of,
Mm.
and you'll evolve, and that's
Yeah.
okay. That's okay. But just be very cognizant that you are that sum of those people that you're around.
Yeah. Absolutely. Uh, so let's talk about your first deal. What was it? What kind of deal was it?
Yeah. So first deal. So I went to that real estate seminar that was, you get your free camera that maybe takes one picture. It's got 1 megabyte of memory. I don't
Hmm.
know how they made them, but absolute garbage. But it led me to a 2-day weekend type of event that you paid a couple thousand for. And then it led you to a week that you paid more for. And then they try
Hmm.
to sell you on this work at home course, and it's got everything, and it seems like, well, this is what I need. And you can pay anywhere from 20, 40, whatever you want, the different levels. So I ended up getting what I wanted, the right level of all of that. I negotiated all of that because I love negotiation. I mean, it was
Hmm.
just, I traveled a lot when I was young, president of my Spanish club. So I went to Spain and Mexico a ton.
Oh, nice.
And everyone haggles, and they're almost offended if you don't haggle, right? You're just going to
Yeah.
pay a lot more, at least, if you
Yeah.
don't haggle. So I'm used to just haggling because what do you know? What's the worst they're going to say? No.
Mm.
Okay, fine. Then I guess I'll pay regular price, right? But so I got the package that I wanted, and I'm like, okay, I know that I have no money, destroyed credit. So I learned that if I want to own property eventually, let me just wholesale now so that I get my figuring out how to evaluate a property, figure out how to get leads in, how to get deals. Like, where the heck do you get deals from when you're
Mm.
starting out? You have no clue for the most part, right?
Yeah.
And now there's so many darn ways. It's more the better question of what's the best way for you
Yeah.
right now to get deals. But
Mm.
that's a different topic. But yeah, so I was wholesaling, and there's on market and off market. I'm not a type of person that really likes to call people and say, "Hey, I got this thing, I can help you," and something like that. Will you
Mm.
listen to me? That's not my bag. I like to help people genuinely. So I put up bandit signs. I loved putting up bandit signs, and those we buy houses,
Mm.
anything. So I researched them, the best techniques, and I started making my own. Of course, as an architect, I'm like, I can draw on here. I made it the most meticulous bandit sign you'd ever see in the world, right? And then I realized you can't do this very quickly. I need a lot of them. And so eventually, I paid for 250 of them, but that was a big investment when I had no money and I didn't know what the heck I was doing. But I put those things up with the Google numbers so that I didn't have to answer it right away.
Mm.
And the police would also call that, and I wouldn't be intimidated by that. The different zoning and everything, because there's roadblocks in front of you in whatever you're
Yeah.
trying to do.
Hmm.
But I put those up and I got people to call me and they say, hey, I got this house I want to sell. And so I get to just call them back and say, hey, you called this number. We buy houses on the road. You remember? You're like, oh, yeah, I remember. I remember. I'm like, cool. My name's Zach. How can I help you? Tell me a little bit about your problem. That's
Hmm.
all I had to say. And then
Hmm.
they are telling me about the opportunity to buy their house at that point. It really fit well with who I am as a person, what I like to do. And I kept getting tons of calls in on that. So sure enough, yeah, I would go and I remember, yeah, I would get like 3 houses was the first time I got 3 houses under contract. And then I get them under contract, and I had to turn to page 87 in my little booklet to figure out how to find buyers, because that's how they taught us was you find the house first, then you find
Right.
the buyers. I would
Hmm.
say ideally you'd find some buyers first, but
Right.
no, potatoes, potatoes, and whatever works and whatever you got to do to get some reps in, do it.
Yeah.
Got those, and then I'm like, I'm on 87. I'm like, all right, now I got to advertise for buyers, get them. I ended up finding a buyer for one of them, but like the other 2 houses, it didn't work out. So I had to kind of like, ooh, you don't see me anymore, right? Right? Your contract expires, and you do that thing that you hear that's not so great that
Yeah.
wholesalers do.
Hmm.
But like, whatever. I mean, I'm getting things going. You got to do what you got to do. But yeah, I got my first deal, and I got that one wholesale in. And once I got that to the finish line and you see that check, you're like, wow, this is real. Like, and I'm paid 10 grand, 5 grand. It could have been
Hmm.
50 cents, but just to see something that you're compensated for that work that you're doing, and you're doing all those things with the paperwork, you're understanding how it works. That's huge starting out, getting that first win that you have. But yeah, I remember the first check was not 50 cents, and it was very, very compelling. And then I'm like, all right, wow, this one hit the finish line, but I've got all these other leads that are still in my pipeline. Now I
Hmm.
got even more excited about all those leads. And so I'm
Yeah.
chasing them a little bit more,
Hmm.
refining my process when I go to meet someone at their house to analyze their house and everything like that. So yeah, it's super important. But wholesaling, that was definitely my first one because I needed to make money. And
Hmm.
as an engineer, I really like to learn the process of
Yeah.
things. So that was super important for me.
So I'm assuming the class or the mentorship that you were in taught you how to what price to offer and everything too.
Yeah, they had, their MAO, their maximum allowable offer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was something, but I mean, the mentorship that I was a part of was terrible. I mean, it's
Hmm.
horrible. It was just like, I couldn't get a hold of anyone that I needed. I really felt like I was out on my own. What really helped is I had that workbook and everything that I purchased from them, but I found someone local that was
Hmm.
doing it. That was the game changer. What I needed was someone to be there right with me to show me those things, to say, all right, this is how I analyze it. This is what I'm looking for real quick. This is how I
Hmm.
talk to a homeowner, right?
Yeah.
Because when you're starting out, you're like, yeah, I'm going to buy the house from you, right? And you know that you're going to wholesale it.
Yeah.
So there's a conversation you have to have, but
Hmm.
it's just it was everything that was in my head that was getting in the way, and having someone local just modeling that for me was huge. 12 years ago, we didn't have all the YouTube Academy that we do now. And so and it's so much different when, for some people, just getting that in-person rep in to be able to see someone doing it, it
Yeah.
was huge. And I'm like, all right, that guy's doing it. I see what he's doing. He's not saying anything too fancy or anything. Like, yeah, there's some good things that he's doing, but like, I can do that. And just
Yeah.
seeing that was super important. And having someone that I could lean on if I had any questions, because you're going to have more questions. I still have more questions as we're always leaning up to do
Right.
bigger things. You're always going to get new questions.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was super important to have someone there that could actually help out.
Yeah, and I really like how you approach the direct to seller method because typically it's hire cold caller or you hire a message blaster and then you just do that. You get a lot of offensive messages or offensive,
Tons.
right? And
Right?
but I like how you did it because what you did was you just put the banner sign out there and then people came into you. You had inbound and your conversation was, okay, well, what's your problem? Like how, I mean, not like what's your problem, but like, what are you going through? How can I help you? And then you let them sell you on why they need. to work with you.
Yeah, and I'm just there to listen and to help.
Yeah.
And yeah, like how many ways can I help them? And that's been my superpower. I mean, even it was just a couple years ago, I got a house for $0. It was a referral from somebody, a
Mm.
realtor that knew me that I couldn't even remember. And she called me up and I missed the call, called her back. She's like, yeah, I've got this one person trying to help. And she can't, she has this problem and blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, I'll call her up. I talked to this woman on the phone, and at the end of the call, I tell her, listen, I've been doing this a while. If I can't help you, nobody can. Right? That's how
Yeah.
confident I got at that
Yeah.
point because I knew all the little quirks, all the little possibilities, all the choose your own adventure. If a seller presents with a problem, what way
Yeah.
they go down to help them.
Mhm.
And so I felt confident at that point. And it turned into a house that I got for no money. Amazing. Yeah, it needed work. Yeah, it had mold. Yeah, it had water coming in through the roof, but it's a whole house, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and it didn't have any back taxes or anything on it, and so and she was so grateful for me to take it off her hands. I always make sure I get a testimonial video from them, and this was one of the tricks that I started with my calls on these we buy houses when people would call in, and I would just you're trying to give them a flavor of who you are and what you're doing. And I would tell them from the beginning, I would say, one of the things that I'm going to ask for you in the end is a testimonial. When all this is done, when I bought your house, you're going to be so happy. I'm going to ask you for a testimonial. And I'm telling you that now because I want you to know that this is going to happen. I want you to start, having that in your mind. I want to pull them along that path of that possibility that this is going to happen. I am going to help you. And I say it's not going to be a written one because you can fake those. They do them on Amazon and
Yeah.
everywhere all the time. It's going to be a video testimonial,
Yeah.
right? And
Mm.
so telling them about a testimonial from the beginning, they're like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
In the back of their head, they're thinking, this dude's pretty confident that he's going to help me out, right? So
Yeah.
I'm going to give him some chances along the way. And I'm sure that ended up leading to a lot of extra success and just helping people get over that fear that they have when they're buying they're trying to sell their house and they don't know what to do. They've got all these problems. They don't know what to do. As long as they need shepherds in life, they need someone to guide them. We need experts, right? We all do, right? That's why we
Yeah.
go to a doctor, right? We need an expert to fix us, or a lawyer, or an accountant, or any of those things. It's that same
Mhm.
type of principle. So I would say wear that as a badge of honor, but show that badge of honor to people and say, I can help you. And
Mhm.
then they're like, okay, I'm in the right place, right? I'm in the
Yeah.
doctor's office. I'm in the real estate investor's office. This guy can help me with this problem for sure. That's what they
Yeah.
need.
Man, so listening to you talk, I failed at wholesaling 4 times, 4 separate times. I failed at wholesaling. And now I feel like I want to get back into it and just take on, I think, a different approach and maybe it'll work out different.
Yeah, because cold calling, doing those things, man. Yeah, no, I don't
Yeah.
like that at all. And it's not about rejection, but like you talk to enough people and they say no, or they don't have time. You can't even
Yeah.
get your message across. It's
Yeah.
moralizing. I don't care how thick your skin is.
Right.
In architecture, man, they would tear up our designs, and that's what they were trying to. That's the purpose of it, is so that you
Yeah.
grow from it. But and so it got me a thicker skin, but darn, we're not born with rhino skins on us.
Yeah.
It hurts our little egos, right? And then so maybe that just means that like, oh, I'm going to stop calling today, right? I'm done
Yeah.
calling today. I've had enough
Hmm.
people yelling at me, swearing at me. They don't know, they're not listening, they don't get it. This is
Yeah.
terrible. Yeah, I didn't like that approach at all. That's why I'm just like, let me do this like pull advertising where you put
Hmm.
something out there, you pull them towards you, and then you say, how can I help you? Tell me your
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah. It's a different conversation. Inbound's
Oh
definitely
my
is
gosh.
different. Yeah.
Different conversation completely. Yeah. Then I can be like, oh, ask them about their family. And then we get close. You can build rapport a lot faster,
Mhm.
easier. And
Yeah.
it's natural for me. So for me, yeah, 100% that was the way to do it. And I'm sure for many other people, that's going to be the easier approach, like all
Mhm.
around for your heart, for your
Yeah.
mind, but also for
Yeah.
your bank account, because you'll keep chugging along. You get to
Yeah.
that next step.
It's hard to get deals when you're only making 5 calls a day and you say, I'm done.
Yeah, I know. And that's why there's so many people that try to teach you different techniques to essentially make more calls. And that's what they pound. Hit the phones, make more calls. I'm like,
Hmm.
I want a free lifestyle where I'm hanging out with my family.
Yeah.
People can call me. They can leave a message even. That's
Yeah.
great. Right.
Mhm.
And then my systems will automatically put it into a spreadsheet, like as they call. So I see it all and I'm going to call them back. And yeah, I'm going to follow up with them about 1,000 times until I actually get a hold of them again.
Yeah.
But calling 1,000 people, no, 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 no. I would rather call one person 1,000 times back than
Yeah.
1,000 people for the first time. And
Yeah.
that's just me.
Yeah. I'm in that same boat.
Yeah, right on.
All right. So you got your first wholesale deal. I guess your mindset, what kind of, I know we talked a little bit about mindset, but what were some of the biggest mindset issues or hurdles that you had to get through?
Biggest one was I don't know what I'm doing. That was like the first one, right? Because
Yeah.
as an engineer, man, we people rely on you to make sure that you do something properly, that you over engineer it. Like if you're building something, it's got to be stronger than it needs to be so it doesn't wobble, it doesn't fall as an
Mhm.
architect, any of those things. So there's like a knowing of the whole process. And to just call or just to like tell people and like learn as I'm going, like, yep, I can help you. And I'm like, shoot, I got to go and like visit them at their house. I better get a sheet to analyze their house or something. Like, how do I do that? I don't know. But I have until 2 p.m. on Thursday to figure that out, right? Because that's when I'm going to go and visit them.
Yeah.
And so it kind of forced me to do that. So that was a big hurdle in the beginning. I was actually transitioning from engineering. I went back to school for architecture. So just being an entrepreneur was a little bit harder too. Like waking up, putting on maybe not comfy clothes, but like something to get in that mindset of work. And then how long am I
Mhm.
going to work this day? Is it going to
Yeah.
be 8 hours? Is it going to be like, oh, I know I just want like a 4 hour work week, right? We've all read
Yeah.
the books, known the book 4 hour work week.
Yeah.
Well, you can't do that starting out
Hmm.
usually,
Right.
especially when you have no money, no experience, and destroyed credit.
Yeah.
So you just gotta hustle and you gotta be self-motivating. And yeah, there are days where that's good, and there's days where you're in a dip from all
Mhm.
of that. And I would say learn to listen to your body, have people around you to support you in that to keep you going. But find other ways to change your state. I mean, now I understand these principles more. Back then, I was just kind of stumbling through it,
Mhm.
but I would go and I would run. I started running at the same time that I found real estate investing. And I went from 2 miles was my max to running a full marathon, 26.2 miles in less than 4 months, all right after my marriage, right? But it's all about the mindset. And the way you do one
Mhm.
thing in life is the way you do everything in
Yeah.
life, you know? And
Mhm.
so just doing more things that are intentional like that. But whenever I was feeling a problem with architecture school, I couldn't figure out something, or real estate investing, I was feeling like, oh man, too many people are saying no to me. When is this money going to hit the bank account? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I'm so stressed about money. Just going and hitting the trail, going for a run. It's that active meditation is what I called it. You know, if you've ever done meditation, it's
Mhm.
usually stationary and it's
Yeah.
very within yourself. You slow yourself down. Well, for me, running turned into an active meditation where you get into that runner's high. You're just your mind. It allows it to go every which way, and it kind of goes nowhere. Sometimes when
Mhm.
you're just staring at the sun, the trees, the wind, and it's energizing. It's those elements. So for me, that was super important. Finding that state change that allows you to get out of that, oh my gosh, where's that fear, that anxiety of where's the next deal going to come from? Where's the money going to come from?
Mhm.
Well, if you're feeling these anxiety provoking type of things, you have to
Yeah.
change what you're doing. Sometimes it could be just like drop and do some push-ups, right? Or do some jumping jack. Do something that just gets your mind off of it and it's physical. Maybe it's going and punching a bag if you're angry, right? You do some
Yeah.
punching like that, but just changing the state of what you're doing. Because when you're in that negative type of mindset, to just continue working is probably one of the worst things that you can do. So
Yeah.
don't do that. Change your state, and that'll allow you to come back fully charged to do that thing that you want to do for the purpose that you want to do it.
Yeah, great advice. Because I would get into that spiral where I would be down on myself and stressed out about money, stressed out. So then figured out, okay, well, breathing exercises will work for me, and then being grateful to for these negative experiences, or I guess perceived negative experiences too, right? Because just because at that moment you feel like it's not going well doesn't mean that it's not good for you because it helps you in some way, right?
100%. Yeah, we're a sum of everything that's happened to this point, and so you can't say, "Oh," I mean, you can say, but you can't say, "Oh, I wish these things didn't happen," because those things are what got you to here. And like
Right.
that's why, like now, I'm extremely grateful for my divorce because if I didn't get divorced at that time, I probably wouldn't have found real estate investing. I
Mhm.
definitely wouldn't have done it with no money and destroyed credit because I took on all of her expenses and all of her stuff onto my credit because she had really high interest rates. So I took it onto mine, really low
Mhm.
interest rates. But then
Yeah.
when the divorce happened, I'm like, I can't pay that. I don't know what to do. Let's see what happens if I don't pay those things. And it destroys your credit, right?
Yeah.
But it taught me super creative real estate from the beginning. So as I transitioned from wholesaling into buying properties, because every now and then there was an opportunity that was like, hey, you could buy this house and you could do it with seller financing. And there's lots more ways that I learned after the first year. But all that creative finance, that is so key because you can do it anywhere in life. I do it
Mhm.
all day in real estate, with RV parks now and land, and you can do it with businesses. Gosh, you can do it with absolutely anything. It's just money, and it's time value of money. I don't know, different nerdy equations that I love, like
Yeah.
fun finance type of equations. But yeah, if I was the traditional thought, if I had money and I had credit, I would say, oh, let me put 20% down on this house and let me go
Mhm.
get a loan.
Yeah.
Cool. Or let me put my money into this house because I got to fix it up. And then it's going to sit there in the house and I'll wait to extract it down the road some point
Yeah.
when I sell it, refinance it, do whatever. Well, having no money, I said, well, I'm definitely not putting money down. Don't have it. I'm definitely not going to put money into the house. Don't have it. So then the question became, how can I get money? Where can I get money? How many ways can I get money? How many wheres can I get money? And that's what really opened up my whole mind to possibilities and anything that I wanted to do because it made it then limitless at that point. There wasn't a limit. It's just a matter of I just find more people, find more money. Money's no problem, right?
Mhm.
It is, and there's lots of mindset issues around money. But yeah, it's something that isn't as big of a problem as your mindset, I would say.
Yeah. Out of the three things, strategy, technicals, and mindset to me is just a large majority of the problem for most, if not all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what running taught me. Okay. So running taught me whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
Mhm.
100% you're right.
Yeah.
Running long distance, it is 50% mental. It's 25% what you're wearing, your gear, your fueling of your body, and 25% breaking things as they or fixing things as they break. Like
Yeah.
you get rubs on your feet, on your legs, on your everywhere because you're doing
Yeah.
lots of this. So you got to fix things. And there's the nutrition, but 50% is just, guess what? If you don't stop, eventually you're going to get to that finish line, right? So whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. That's it. And so that's what running taught me. And so I'm extremely grateful to that. But yeah, mindset, 100%, 100% important.
Yeah. So, looking back, knowing what you know now, what's some advice that you give to yourself when you're first getting started?
So one of the biggest things I would say, okay, so two things come to mind. One is have a network around you, have other people that you can lean on. And I think I was maybe too proud, and I'm about like a 50% extrovert, 50% introvert. I get
Mhm.
fueled and drained by both.
Yeah.
Right. And so I need that balance. So if I get too much of one, that's fine. But there's uh sometimes I wouldn't want to go out and say, like, even post on social media or something to say I don't know how to do it, because my
Hmm.
ego is like, ooh, I don't want people to know that I don't know how to do this thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, then guess what? You never get the answer to that as quickly
Yeah.
as if you just ask it. It's that
Right.
whole concept of who and not how. Holy
Yeah.
smokes. So yeah, the book Who Not How, that's a great one. The whole concept is just get other people that are good at it. Ask them, bring them on your
Hmm.
team, bring them into
Yeah.
your sphere. Holy smokes. It'll make things go so much faster. My gosh, that could take a decade alone off of anything that you're trying to do. Get experts around you. Don't be so stupid and proud that you're
Hmm.
not going to ask people. So that's the one thing that I would just pound into my previous self. It's like you're not that awesome, Zach, that you've got to pretend like you know everything.
Right.
Little babies are born all the time. They don't know anything. They're all just stumbling around, right? Right. But we're there to teach them
Right.
those things. So find great people around you, be humble, and go give to them. Say, how can I help you? My
Yeah.
gosh. And they'll give you that in spades. So that's number one, having a great network around you and not being so proud to ask that. But just, gosh, the next thing is talk to people about money, learn about raising capital, learn
Hmm.
about money, how to talk to people about money, or just talking to people about money. Because in my family, there's a few things that we never talked about, like never talked about:
Hmm.
sex, money, politics, and religion. We're kind of
Yeah.
right there about halvesy as that third one, because like
Hmm.
it would come in every now and then. You're like, ooh, what's that? And like, oh, we learned that. Oh, we're gonna go to church today. Okay, cool. We're learning about that, right? Oh,
Yeah.
we're gonna vote for this person. You're voting for that. That's cool. But like, it's nothing deep. A lot of the time about that, but money
Hmm.
is so important. It's everywhere. Learn to talk about it. Figure out where people's motivations are, how to invest it,
Yeah.
talking to people about money so that's not a taboo subject, breaking the ice,
Hmm.
super important, because raising capital is key. You need it, especially when you have no money and you have no destroyed credit. You can borrow it from other people. Just learn how to protect them and learn their motivations around money, and you'll be a lot better off. Yeah, those two things, network and talking about raising money. My gosh, I wish 12 years ago I was caring about that more.
Yeah, the funny thing is I went through the same things as well. Networking, I was like, I'm never gonna network. I don't need anybody else. This is that only child syndrome, right? I can do this on my own. Well, I mean, you
Mhm.
can, but you can only get so far. And
Yeah.
then talking about money, money is just a resource. It's nothing more than that. It's just it should be used to make more, and it doesn't make you evil or good or bad. It's just there. It's a resource.
Yeah. Yeah. All those things. Absolutely true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I want you to talk about your project though, because you got a really cool project that you're working
Oh,
on.
yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, as of a year ago, I kind of shifted my focus. I was on a soul search of what asset class really spoke to me, because single family, they're great for getting started.
Hmm.
You learn your principles, you learn your reps on things, just like wholesaling gets you into single family owning. Single family owning gets you into bigger owning,
Yeah.
right? Maybe it's
Hmm.
commercial or it's multifamily. Tons of people are in multifamily, but multifamily never spoke to me. It just seemed like a hollow Easter egg bunny, as opposed to a caramel filled or solid Easter egg bunny in your basket. Because
Yeah.
I don't care about money, is not my driving purpose in life. It's freedom, it's awesome experiences, quality time like
Hmm.
that. And money can get you those things. Yeah, that's fine. But I want them all at once. And so
Hmm.
I was searching for this asset class because everyone liked multifamily. I'm like, I guess I'll go and get multifamily. But then multifamily has crashed, and it just, since interest rates went down, everyone paid way too much for multifamily right now. So everything's overpriced. There's not a lot of
Hmm.
deals that are out there until some things change down the road. It'll turn around. That's
Yeah.
fine. It's not so exciting. And so as my son was incubating in my wife,
Hmm.
as my son was incubating, and then when he was born, it kind of just brought that playful energy out. And the fact that I always loved nature, I always loved traveling around, I always loved just new experiences. And I found this other asset class that has all those things, and it's not really touched very much. And it's prime right now for change. And that's RV parks, RV destinations, RV resorts. And so RVs, recreational vehicles, are different than mobile homes, just because I got to say that, because I mean, a lot of people don't know that. When I'll talk about RVs, they'll hear mobile homes and they're like, oh, yeah, mobile homes. That's kind of like affordable living. That's cool. But like, what are those people that are in there? I'm like, no, 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 no. It's not mobile home parks. It's RV parks. An RV resort is what we're actually creating now. But yeah, we're renting concrete. People bring their really expensive rigs. I mean, we're talking 100,000, 200,000 for their
Yeah.
Airstream plus their F1000 that's got to
Yeah.
pull it,
Yeah.
so all of that's expensive. And but some people, that's their house as opposed to having a house. But yeah, so we're developing this RV resort right now in North Carolina, Hidden Beach RV Resort. Really, really fun. We get to rent concrete. We get to have awesome glamping experiences. We get to have lazy rivers, and it's on the coast with a saltwater beach, water sports. Gosh, I mean, everything fun. So there's workout trails, gamifying this whole place, but it's just this real fun resort that we're creating, because RV parks are just going to be blowing up in the next 5, 10 years easily, as another option for affordable vacation, affordable housing. When people can't afford something in California, they're all those everything, the tech industry, especially, people can work from anywhere right now when they're working from their RV. And that's
Mhm.
the fun thing. So when they can work from anywhere, they like to work, some of them like to work from everywhere. And we've got two new demographics. The different younger generations are all getting into this space on top of the boomers that were already there, the people that
Mhm.
are, they're already uh, done with what they're doing, and they've worked their life to finally relax. With these younger generations, they're like, I don't need to work my life to relax. I can just relax now and work with my family and everything. So yeah, we're creating this awesome RV resort in North Carolina from nothing, from land. And the architect in me, the builder in me, loves it. And it's going to be the first smart RV destination. The In North Carolina, it's a whole new asset class that we're getting created for us with CampSpot, because we're going to have tons of technology, like everything freaking cool.
Mhm.
Besides everything being like automated with check-ins and gate valves for the utilities, that's cool. So if you don't pay, guess what? We just shut off your water, your electric, and we drag you out. We don't have to evict you. We
Yeah.
can drag you out of there.
Yeah.
That's nice. So no evictions, no updating toilets, updating kitchens. They bring their own. But besides renting concrete, we're going to have super cool glamping experiences, geodesic domes, tree houses that are 30 feet in the air, yurts. So, like, we've seen floating tents, just, I mean, so many different options. I'm going to Glamping America here, a summit for glamping. Never thought I'd be doing that in a couple weeks, just to see what the world has to offer in that. And it's just these fun, unique experiences. So then I get to sell people, essentially, that come to our resort. I get to sell them memories, super cool memories with their families right now. And so for them, that's cool. But what we're offering right now is, of course, we're raising money to get this project going. And so we've got offers for investors, and we've got founding investors right now, awesome returns on it, because again, you're renting concrete. And our break even cash flow is at 22% occupancy. Holy smokes. Show me like a single family home, your break even cash flow is 100% occupancy. If they're not there, guess what? You're negative. It's even
Right.
worse,
Yeah.
right? On a multifamily, you're probably around 70, maybe 80%, depending on if it's C, B, A class. There's benefits and drawbacks to all of that. But with this RV resort, 22% occupancy. We only have to have 22% of our slots filled. So everything after that is gravy. And I
Yeah.
don't know if you like Thanksgiving or not, but I love gravy. And so, but what that does, it just makes life easier, right? It makes less concerns, less worries, and people are going to be moving into this asset class. They already are.
Hmm.
They already
Yeah.
are like in droves. And so, yeah, I'm real excited for this. And so, yeah, if you want to get in the ground floor of something that has an awesome cash on cash return, we've got a fund that we're just starting up now, but there's opportunities for people even before that. But yeah, get a part of this because here's the fun kicker that not all right. So multifamily can't offer you come stay at this multifamily building with your family in this B class neighborhood, 2 bedroom, 1 bath apartment. Have a great time here. No one wants to do that, right? Well, we get to offer all of our investors spending time at our RV resort in North Carolina on the beach with a lazy river, tons of fun technology and nature and everything to connect with your family. We're offering our investors free stays for 20 years right now. Even after your money is paid back, you get to come back here every year for free. There's no red tape. I hate red tape, right? Don't give me any of those rules. Just can I enjoy it? Yes, you can roll it over to the next year because maybe you're busy a year, but gosh, spend it and have those memories and go back to that same place. Make those fun memories with your friends, your family, your kids, your loved ones. Shucks, you can even give away the time to someone that you don't like, and you'll probably become friends with them because they're like, oh man, thank you so much. Thank you so much, John, for giving me some of the stays at this amazing technologically advanced resort in North Carolina. And so that's what we're creating. So not only awesome cash on cash returns and all the benefits of real estate, but yeah, you get to also stay there for 20 years into the future as we do things. So just and so for me, that's what spoke to me. I'm
Hmm.
like, this is it. I'm like, really, really great rules around it. Renting concrete, cool, awesome experiences. I get to give away these experiences to other people too. I'm like, well, that's going to make it a lot easier to raise money. Who the heck doesn't want great returns and awesome
Right.
memories with their loved ones? And so that's the fun that we have going on right now. So yeah, I'm sure John will put a link somewhere to our
Hmm.
website,
Yep.
hbrvr.com. Go on there. You can learn a little bit about us. You can book a call. When you do that, it'll be with me. We can chat a little bit about your goals, chat about what's going on. And if this is a good fit for you, great. If it's not, I'll tell you and I'll direct you. I'm like, you probably want to go in this direction because I've done everything in real estate at this point. But yeah, RV destinations, that's going to be my bag. That's what you're going to see. And that's why I've got a virtual meetup every month about it just for RV park owners and interested people. Every third Thursday of the month, we bring on experts and guest speakers and just elevate everyone else in the world, anyone that's interested, just about RV destinations, the benefits, the drawbacks, how to get into it, how to do it, how to raise money for it, how to add glamping to it, just how to enjoy it in so many different ways. So, yep, that's what I
Yeah.
got going on.
When you showed me that, I actually started the process of figuring out whether I should pull out equity from my existing houses, single family homes, or I should sell them and 1031 them into something like this. So, um, it's a
Yeah.
very cool opportunity.
Yeah, super cool. Yeah, I dig it. And yeah, this fund, I mean, it's going to be getting really high returns.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, 20s, 30s is 30 type of percent. IRR is not unheard of at all. We'd have to kind of trip a lot of things up if we don't get that. Now, a fund is more of like a 5, 7 year, it's a longer term type of thing.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, we know we're long term. We're telling you already, you can enjoy it for 20 years,
Yeah.
right? And we want you to. But it's if you want some place where you can set your money and you don't have to actively do things to get that type of return, because when you're starting out in anything, you're not going to get the best returns for them because you're learning as you're going. You're stumbling as the
Yeah.
market is changing. You don't realize that the market is changing. You're going to continue doing what you think you know to do.
Mhm.
No, 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 no. When you can get to the point where you're a passive investor, I would say that is truly the best. And when you don't have to do anything for it, that's truly, truly passive. And I always ask people like, how passive are your passive investments? Because they're like, oh yeah, well, single family homes, that's a passive investment. I'm like, are you doing the work yourself? Oh, you've got a manager. Oh, so you don't have to answer any questions from your manager then, right? Right? Because they're going to figure things out and they're going to say, What do you want me to do in this situation? You got to make a decision, and you might not
Mhm.
be informed about it. So you're active, and it's happening to you, and you're feeling all that anxiety of, oh, when did we get another tenant in there yet? Oh, you didn't? Oh no. How come this person is slow to pay? What's going on? And
Yeah.
and when they have, I mean, property managers, what are they managing? 500,000 units, can be more easily. Do you want someone that has a lot? Do you want someone that has a few? There's a lot that goes into choosing a property manager.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot easier when you can just find a good GP, a sponsor, an operator that can just truly manage your investment for you. And that's what we can offer with the best asset class ever. And you can come and enjoy it yourself with your family and your loved ones. Bam.
Yeah. That was one of the biggest selling points is just being completely passive because in the past, just this past year, and I'll go into last year too, had to rebuild a chimney, had to redo a septic tank, had to cut down the tree that was going into the septic tank, had to clear out the sewer line and build a new sewer line for one of the houses. It's just, I don't want to keep doing this. I just would rather just take the equity out, put it into something that's a lot more passive.
100%. And that's where you just have to figure out what your goals are and what works for you right now. When
Hmm.
I had no money and destroyed credit, you can bet that I was going to be there fixing things and getting things done.
Yeah.
At this point right now, I'm a lot more selective of what I do. But even if you have someone else do that work, you then have to learn how to interview for
Hmm.
a contractor
Yeah.
and deal with them when it doesn't work out and put all those checks in place to protect you. Oh, you didn't put any of those in place? Well, then I guess you learned an expensive lesson and you're
Yeah.
not going to do it that way the next time. But
Yeah.
it's just, it's active. It is active. So if you have the ability where you have a W-2, you're making money, you just want to place it somewhere and get an awesome return, real estate investments are phenomenal. They are. And right now, multifamily, it's hard to find a really good return on a multifamily project. It's just
Yeah.
difficult
Mhm.
because everything's overpriced. Interest rates are not low enough right now to adjust the cap rate of those purchases on those properties, and it's not great. Mobile home parks are okay. They give a higher return, but you can't enjoy them like you can an RV resort, and you can't. Yeah, I would still say that we make better money than mobile home parks because of this simple reason. Mobile home parks are affordable housing and they're long term. So obviously the pad for each site, the
Yeah.
rents are lower. Well,
Hmm.
with an RV resort, an RV park, typically they're higher returns because it's a short term rental. So we're getting as much money as possible out
Yeah.
of each of those sites, and it has lots of potential. Oh yeah, and you can go come and enjoy it all you want and have fun at this place too. Find something better than that, John. If you find something better than that, please message me because I might want to invest in it, right? Or definitely
Yeah.
people that I'm talking to that are looking to invest. I'm always looking for good options for people to invest in. And in my 12 years of doing this, at this point, I've found nothing better than this RV resort that we're just creating right now. So yeah, I'm excited for everyone that hops on board with this, and we're honoring them with lots of free stays and lots of other secret little projects, just to honor them and to make it fun for them along the
Yeah.
way.
It's an amazing thing what you're doing with this. And we're definitely gonna have the website in the description along with your Instagram and your Facebook.
Sweet.
All right. Awesome. Zach, thank you so much. I've taken up way too much of your time. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story.
Hey, thank you, John, for having me, man. Yeah, anytime. I love helping people out. So whether you have any questions in the future or anyone else has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My Facebook, Instagram, that's cool. If I don't respond right away, don't let your ego get in the way. I'm just probably busy hanging out with my little boy, playing around in the backyard. I'll get to you as soon as possible. Promise.
Cool. Appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Thanks.